Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Steve about to react to this video by Honest. It's titled Ariana's Worst Album. Oop. He's talking about her new album, Pedal, which I reacted to, by the way, on my Patreon, link down below. Check it out if you want to hear my thoughts on the album. But I am very interested in hearing what he has to say. Obviously, he thinks it's her worst, but I want to know why. Let's hear what he thinks. Let's watch. Very pretty, very beige, new era. Oh, he's saying it's boring.
There's a strange experience at the center of Pedal, Ariana Grande's 8th album. You listen to one song, then another.
Because someone could think it's, someone's worse or it's really bad just because they feel like, oh, it's, all over the place. Maybe it's chaotic. Maybe it sounds bad. It's terrible production. Your vocals sound bad, But, Ariana, let's be clear, her vocals don't ever sound bad. But no, he thinks it's boring.
And another, and the voice is Ariana. The production has a budget. The harmonies are nice. The emotional atmosphere is carefully lit. And yet, from track to track, she can almost sound completely interchangeable. Ariana Grande's 8th studio album, Pedal, is fine. Not
8 is
bad,
crazy.
See,
I'm interested in hearing what he has to say as well because I have not heard every single Ariana album to compare it to. I've only heard this one, Eternal Sunshine, Positions, and it was one other one. I don't remember the name, but I do recall listening to it on Spotify years ago. I gave my thoughts. I gave my thoughts already on Patreon. Check it out. Link down below.
Not a total disaster, just fine. And for an artist with the vocal chops and pop pedigree of Ariana Grande, fine is almost a bigger insult than bad would have been. Bad albums are at least interesting to talk about. Pedal is the sonic equivalent of a beige throw pillow. Nice texture, matches the couch, gone from memory the second you leave the room.
Damn. A darker shade of beige.
The marketing around Pedal promises a moodier, more shadowed Ariana.
Yeah.
And to be fair, she does deliver on tone. The production leans into murkier synths and slower tempos, a clear pivot away from the champagne fizz of Positions or the sun-drenched R&B of Sweetener.
I said this as well. I thought it was going to be a bit darker based on, the images from the music videos that I reacted to and whatnot. Considering all the controversy surrounding her and all the negative things that people have to say, I thought that it was going to be a bit darker based on those elements, but
Problem is,
it was lighter and softer.
That she went dark is that she went dark in the least surprising way possible for someone with her range. This is not the kind of moody, genre-scrambling risk you'd expect from a singer of her caliber. It's dark pop by the numbers, competent and aggressively safe. A comparison that kept nagging at me the whole way through is that sonically, Pedal sounds like it's trying to tackle dark pop in a way not dissimilar to her noted collaborator, The Weeknd.
Now this is the king of dark pop, okay? Okay, so I hope she wasn't trying to do what he did because, girl, you failed.
But it's not as vibrant or as...
But he's much darker though, so she clearly wasn't trying to lean too heavy into his sound and his subject matter at all. But yeah, this is the type of dark pop that I like.
Intricate as a Weeknd record. At times, the production and song format feels dated in a millennial pop type of way. At times, the album leans into that swelling, cinematic, full dark energy, but has little payoff. It often feels dramatic and showy in isolated moments, but ends up strangely colorless. Across Pedal's 13 tracks, the drama never actually builds into anything. It just sort of hovers. Ariana Grande's voice is one of the great pop instruments of her generation. And that's another reason why Pedal is such a strange listen. She spends most of the record camped out in her lower register, which is a genuinely cool idea on paper. Lower register Ariana should sound smoky, dangerous, and lived in. Instead, it mostly sounds detached, almost clinical, like she's narrating her own emotions from behind a pane of glass. It's some of the iciest, most guarded singing of her career, and it doesn't feel like an icy delivery that's being performed with intention to enhance the perspective of the song. She starts sounding interchangeable, and that should not be possible for a vocalist this gifted. Ariana has said in interviews that this album was her chance to tap into unfiltered rage, the kind of raw, messy anger she usually keeps under wraps. Respectfully, the album does not back that up. What we get instead is vague, guarded, workshop-sounding lyricism. Lots of gesturing at anger without ever naming names or getting into the weeds of what actually hurt. Rage is supposed to be specific. Rage names its targets. Petal mostly just simmers politely. The writing is often vague, full of emotional outlines rather than sharp details. On Petal she asks, "Tell me who's to blame. Is it the people or myself?" It is a perfectly reasonable question, but it is also broad enough to apply to almost any celebrity crisis, breakup, or group chat disaster. Later she sings, "I'm not the victim," and describes herself as practically drowning in my blessings. That line is more revealing because it acknowledges the contradiction at the heart of the album. Ariana is angry, but she is also aware of her privilege. She is overwhelmed by fame while benefiting enormously from it. At times, the album feels like emotion about emotion, one layer removed from the thing itself. Freak leans on that shrugging, dismissive energy, more attitude than storytelling. She sings, "I won't give you your fantasy this time. Can you do it now?" "No, I won't do what you say, Freak, anytime. What can you give me now?" The whole song is the lyrical equivalent of a raised eyebrow instead of an actual sentence. Compare this to Thank You Next or Sweetener, two albums where Ariana said the quiet part loud, named exes, owned her contradictions, and let herself be embarrassingly, gloriously honest. Those records had teeth because she was willing to be specific and a little unflattering about herself. Petal wants credit for vulnerability while keeping its cards face down on the table. It's the difference between someone telling you exactly what happened and someone just sighing dramatically and changing the subject. After the transparency of her career best run, Petal feels almost shy in comparison, which is a wild thing to say about an album billed as her angriest. A lot of Petal is clearly aimed at the media machine, in the exhausting business of being endlessly discussed, dissected, and mythologized. That's a rich vein for her to mine, and you can feel the discontent bubbling under the surface. Unfortunately, the lyricism keeps circling the subject instead of landing on it. We get a lot of mood and not a lot of specificity. A lot of "you don't know me" energy without the follow-through of actually telling us who she is instead. It's a shame because the frustration is clearly real. It just never gets sharp enough to leave a mark. And here's the part that hurts the most for a pop record. The melodies are arguably the least memorable of her entire discography. That wouldn't be fatal if the album leaned into cohesion and had the production intricacies to actually back this up. One long mood piece you can sink into, but that's not what happens either. Instead, the record just feels monotonous. Same shapes, same cadences, same held back energy song after song, without the payoff of actually feeling unified. It's the worst of both worlds. Not catchy enough to hook you, not cohesive enough to hypnotize you. To her credit, the anger on Petal is intentionally quieter than anything she's done before. This isn't Dangerous Woman strutting around in leather. This is something that's been festering under the surface for a while, low and slow instead of loud and theatrical. It's a genuinely interesting choice. It just doesn't translate into memorable songwriting often enough to justify itself. It's not all beige though. Opener Kiss Me deserves real credit. It sets the tone of the record beautifully, all sensual and urgency. And it's one of the few moments where the vagueness actually works in the song's favor, because the ambiguity reads as breathless rather than evasive. The title track Petal is another genuine standout. The one moment where the icy vocals, the quiet rage concept, and the production actually click into place. Warning Signs is a legitimately intriguing little interlude, all hushed tension and unresolved feeling. And lead single Hate That I Made You Love Me is a slow burn. Noticeably less eventful than her typical singles, but there's something to its patience. Thematically, it lands in the same neighborhood as Yes and, another song about refusing to explain herself to an audience that demands explanations. Measured against her run of Dangerous Woman, Sweetener, and Thank You Next, Petal simply doesn't compete. Those three albums
Thank You
had
Next
a
is
clear
what I heard.
personality, a reason to exist beyond new Ariana Grande album. Dangerous Woman was fierce, Sweetener glowed, Thank You Next bled honesty from every scene. Petal mostly just exists, tasteful and hushed, and a little bit sealed off from the listener. And measured against its closest sibling, Eternal Sunshine, it plays like a totally lesser counterpart, thematically and sonically. Both albums are about processing fame, heartbreak, and the exhausting business of being endlessly watched. But Eternal Sunshine wrapped that discomfort in melodies that stuck around long after the record ended, and it wasn't afraid to let some humor and specificity sneak in around the edges. Petal strips that warmth out and replaces it with atmosphere, which sounds like an upgrade until you realize atmosphere alone can't carry a whole album. Ariana Grande is still Ariana Grande at the end of the day though. Her voice is still one of the best in pop, full stop, and there's real ambition in trying to write from a colder, angrier, more guarded headspace. It's the execution that falls short here. An album that talks a big game about rage and honesty, and then spends most of its runtime hedging. Eternal Sunshine felt lived in. Petal feels like a very well-decorated mood board. Pretty to glance at, hard to remember a week later for the music itself, rather than whose album it is or the cultural climate it arrives in. Petal arrives as the weakest album of Ariana's discography thus far. It's not a bad album, it's just a forgettable one. And for an artist of Ariana Grande's caliber, that might honestly be the harsher review.
Sheesh. Very interesting. And it's wild that he said that this was supposed to be a dark album, and she, I guess, has publicly said that this is her angriest album. It's very interesting because my patrons, y'all know, when I reacted to this, I said that I was expecting, it to be darker. And I had no prior knowledge of her saying that or prefacing the album with, that description or whatever. I just figured that based on the music videos and based on, what has been, going on in the media surrounding her image, her body and all of that. So, yeah, it's interesting that that was her objective, to really, give us this dark, angry energy. It's like, it wasn't that dark or angry at all. So, yeah, wow. But yeah, like I said, if y'all want to hear my thoughts on the album and see my full reaction to it, check it out, link down below to the Patreon. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this album, though, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye!